The 8-year-old had 128 injuries. The doctor said there was not one part of her body that was spared. Hello true crime fans and welcome to Behind the Yellow Tape. Today we confront a case that stands as a haunting and indelible mark on the history of child protection in the United Kingdom. The murder of 8-year-old Victoria Climbie. Her death in February 2000 was not merely an isolated crime, but a devastating result of systematic failure across multiple agencies, revealing a lamentable breakdown in the very systems designed to keep children safe. Victoria was born in Côte d'Ivoire in November 1998. At the age of 7, she was sent by her parents to live with her great-aunt Marie-Thérèse Quayo, initially in Paris, with the hope that she would receive a better education. Quayo, who later moved with Victoria to London in April 1999, was reportedly being pursued by French authorities over benefit payments. The abuse began to escalate when Quayo met and moved in with her boyfriend, Cole Manning, in Tottenham, North London in July 1999. Over the next 7 months, Victoria's life became an unrelenting nightmare of torture, starvation and neglect. The conditions in which she was forced to live were inhumane. Trial evidence revealed that during the winter of 1999, Victoria spent much of her time confined to an unheated bathroom, forced to sleep, bound hand and foot inside a black bin liner that contained her own urine and faeces. She was subjected to sustained violence using a variety of objects, including bike chains, wires, shoes, belt buckles, coat hangers and wooden spoons. Manning admitted to striking her on the toes with a hammer. The abuse was so systematic that when Victoria was occasionally fed, she was forced to eat cold food on a piece of plastic, often tied up and made to push her face to the plate, forced to eat like a dog. The extent of Victoria's suffering was laid bare at the post-mortem. Home Office pathologist Dr. Nathaniel Carey, who conducted the examination, described her case as the worst of child abuse he had ever dealt with or heard of. The report recorded heartbreaking evidence of no fewer than 128 separate injuries to Victoria's body. The scarring was so pervasive that Dr. Carey noted, "There really is not anywhere that is spared. There is scarring all over the body." These injuries were evidence of continuous deliberate harm. Scars and fresh wounds were found all over her body, inflicted by various blunt and sharp instruments. Quayo admitted to striking Victoria daily with shoes, coat hangers and spoons. She had been burned with cigarettes and scalded with hot water on her face and head. One instance of scalding led to a hospital visit. Towards the end of her life, Victoria was desperately ill, bruised, deformed and severely malnourished. When she was finally admitted to the North Middlesex Hospital on the 24th of February 2000, her temperature was so low it could not be recorded on the standard hospital thermometer, leading to a diagnosis of hypothermia. Due to the sustained abuse and being tied up for extended periods, Victoria's legs could not be straightened and she was stooped like an old lady and could walk only with great difficulty. Victoria died on the 25th of February 2000 at St Mary's Hospital. Her death was caused by a combination of hypothermia, multi-organ failure affecting her lungs, heart and kidneys, and her severely weakened state. What made Victoria's case so appalling was that she was not hidden away. Between April 1999 and February 2000, authorities had at least 12 clear opportunities to intervene, all of which were tragically missed. Victoria were known to 4 social service departments, 2 child protection teams of the Metropolitan Police Services, 2 different hospitals, Central Middlesex and North Middlesex, and a specialist centre managed by the NSPCC. The failures were a failure to connect dots. In July 1999, Victoria made her first hospital visit. A consultant paediatrician accepted Quayo's story that the injuries, bruises and cuts were self-inflicted scratches caused by scabies. Despite a doctor alerting child protection authorities, Victoria was discharged and returned to her abusers. On her second admission, with scalding to her head and face, doctors suspected deliberate harm. However, after 2 weeks in the hospital and after child protection authorities accepted Quayo's explanation, Victoria was once again discharged. Tragically, Haringey Social Services closed Victoria's case on the very day she died, highlighting a lack of vigilance. The later public inquiry described this as blinding incompetence, concluding that her death was entirely preventable and required nothing more than basic good practice being put into operation. Quayle and Manning were convicted of Victoria's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. The immense public outcry led to a public inquiry chaired by Lord Laming. The inquiry's report, published in 2003, delivered a devastating critique on the child protection system, noting that the low priority given to child protection by the agencies involved and the failures of senior leadership had been contributing factors. The Laming Inquiry report produced 108 recommendations aimed at improving accountability and multi-agency working. This report directly led to the government's major reform programme, Every Child Matters, and the subsequent Child Act of 2004. These changes were designed to ensure that all agencies, social services, education and police work together effectively and transparently under a clear mandate of child welfare. Victoria's case is now the fundamental cornerstone of modern child safeguarding policy in the UK. Her name remains synonymous with the absolute necessity of rigorous professional practice and multi-agency cooperation. The failures that cost her life become the painful catalyst for a commitment to never allow an 8-year-old child to be abandoned, unheard and unnoticed again. Thank you for listening today, and remember, stay behind the yellow tape.